Imagine standing beneath the night sky in August 2026. The familiar moon begins to change. Its bright face slowly darkens as Earth's shadow moves across it. For a few moments, the sky appears different from what we expect. The moon that has guided travelers, inspired poets, and watched over human civilization for thousands of years seems to enter a mysterious transformation. But what if the most important thing about an eclipse is not the moon itself? What if the real question is what happens inside the human mind while we are watching it? Edgar Cayce is often remembered for his spiritual readings, his ideas about intuition, dreams, meditation, and the hidden dimensions of human experience. Yet this is important to say clearly. There is no need to invent a specific Edgar Cayce prophecy about the August 2026 lunar eclipse. The mystery becomes more interesting when we ask a different question. If Edgar Cayce had looked at the eclipse as a spiritual symbol, what might he have encouraged us to notice within ourselves? Perhaps not a prediction of disaster, perhaps not a warning that the world is about to end, perhaps something quieter, something hidden, something that cannot be seen through a telescope. Throughout history, human beings have looked upward whenever the sky changed unexpectedly. A darkened sun, a red moon, a comet, a strange alignment of planets. Such events often created fear because they interrupted the ordinary rhythm of life. And an eclipse is, in many ways, a reminder that even the familiar can suddenly appear unfamiliar. Perhaps that is where the symbolism begins. The moon is always there. We know its shape. We know its cycles. We expect it to rise. And yet, during an eclipse, something changes. For a brief time, the ordinary moon enters shadow. From a symbolic point of view, this can resemble the human experience itself. There are moments when our own inner light seems clear. We feel certain about where we are going. Our thoughts are calm, life makes sense. And then something changes. Doubt appears. A difficult decision arrives. A dream refuses to leave our memory. A relationship reveals a truth we did not want to see. Or perhaps, in the silence of an ordinary night, we suddenly ask ourselves a question we have been avoiding for years. What am I really doing with my life? Edgar Cayce's spiritual philosophy often emphasized the importance of looking beyond the surface of experience. He spoke frequently about the deeper life of the mind and spirit, and about practices such as meditation and inner reflection. Seen through that lens, an eclipse could become a symbol of interruption. The sky interrupts our routine, and perhaps we should interrupt our own routine as well. Modern life moves quickly. Notifications arrive constantly. News changes by the hour. People wake up and immediately reach for screens. They work, respond, scroll, worry, consume information, and repeat the process again. But an eclipse forces many people to stop. For a moment, they look up. And that simple act may be more powerful than it seems. Because the human being is always looking outward. What is happening in the world? What is coming next? What should I fear? What opportunity am I missing? But perhaps the ancient question is different. What is happening within me while I am so busy watching everything else? This is where meditation becomes deeply connected to the symbolism of the eclipse. Meditation is not about escaping reality. At its simplest, it can be an invitation to become quiet enough to notice what is already present. Thoughts rise, memories return, emotions reveal themselves. Sometimes, answers do not arrive as words at all. They arrive as a feeling that something in life needs to change. Perhaps an eclipse, viewed symbolically, reminds us that darkness does not always mean destruction. Sometimes darkness is simply the moment when we can no longer ignore what the light once allowed us to overlook. In folklore and ancient traditions around the world, eclipses were often surrounded by stories of danger, transformation, or cosmic struggle. Some ancient peoples imagined that a creature was swallowing the moon. Others believed powerful forces were battling in the heavens. Some communities made noise to frighten away whatever they believed was attacking the moon. Others avoided certain activities, believing that the unusual sky represented a time when normal boundaries had become uncertain. These old stories may sound strange to the modern mind, but they reveal something timeless about human psychology. When nature behaves in an unusual way, the imagination awakens. And perhaps that is why the eclipse has always held such power. It reminds us that beneath our modern technology, we are still the same species that once stood around fires and looked toward the heavens with wonder. We still want to know what it means. We still search for signs. We still ask whether the universe is trying to tell us something. Edgar Cayce's approach to spiritual life offers an interesting perspective here. Instead of assuming that every unusual event is a supernatural prediction, we might ask whether the event changes the observer. That may be the deeper mystery. A lunar eclipse does not need to be magical in a supernatural sense to have a profound symbolic effect. A storm can make someone appreciate shelter. A sunrise can make someone feel hopeful. An old song can suddenly bring back a forgotten memory. And a darkened moon can cause a person to ask questions they have not asked in years. The meaning is not necessarily hidden in the object. Sometimes the meaning appears within the person who is observing it. This idea becomes especially interesting when we consider dreams. Cayce often gave importance to dreams as part of the inner life. Dreams can bring strange images together: oceans, doors, mountains, faces, shadows, falling stars. The meaning is not necessarily hidden in the object. Sometimes the meaning appears within the person who is observing it. This idea becomes especially interesting when we consider dreams. Cayce often gave importance to dreams as part of the inner life. Dreams can bring strange images together: oceans, doors, mountains, faces, shadows, falling stars. But dreams rarely speak like a newspaper headline. They speak in symbols. A door may represent opportunity. A journey may represent change. A storm may reflect emotional conflict. A house may symbolize the self. And what might an eclipse symbolize in the language of the imagination? Perhaps a temporary loss of clarity. Perhaps the meeting of opposites, light and shadow. Perhaps the realization that what disappears is not always gone forever. Perhaps a hidden truth moving slowly into view. The eclipse itself follows a cosmic order. What appears mysterious is also part of a pattern. Earth moves, the moon moves, the sun shines, and when conditions align, the shadow appears. There is no chaos in the astronomical process, even though the experience may look dramatic from Earth. This can offer another symbolic lesson. Sometimes our lives also enter periods that feel dark and confusing. We may believe that everything has gone wrong because we cannot see the larger pattern. But later, looking back, we realize that a difficult period changed us. A closed door led somewhere unexpected. A disappointment forced us to grow. A period of loneliness taught us something about ourselves. This does not mean that every painful event happens for some easily explained reason. Human suffering is real, and not every tragedy can be wrapped in a comforting spiritual message. But it does mean that human beings have a remarkable ability to search for meaning after darkness. Perhaps this is one reason cosmic events have always inspired spiritual reflection. They place human problems beside something unimaginably larger. Our arguments seem smaller. Our daily worries pause. Our schedules lose importance for a few minutes. Above us is a reminder that we live inside a universe of patterns we did not create and cannot fully control. And perhaps Edgar Cayce might have asked us to consider not what disaster is this eclipse predicting, but rather, what is this moment awakening within you? That question is far more personal. and perhaps far more difficult. Because if we believe a sign in the sky is predicting something external, we can simply wait for the future. But if the sign is asking us to examine ourselves, then the responsibility returns to us. What have we been ignoring? What truth have we pushed into the shadows? What intuition keeps returning? What dream have we forgotten? What part of ourselves becomes visible only when we finally become quiet? In today's world, intuition is often misunderstood. Some people think intuition means blindly believing every feeling, but a deeper form of intuition may involve listening carefully to the quiet patterns of one's own experience. Sometimes the mind notices something before we can explain it logically. Sometimes a repeated feeling points toward a question we need to investigate. Sometimes we sense that a path is wrong even before we understand exactly why. This is where reflection becomes important. Not every feeling is a prophecy. Not every dream is a message about the future. Not every coincidence is a cosmic warning. But the human inner world still deserves attention. And perhaps the eclipse can become a reminder to listen, not with fear, but with awareness. Imagine using the night of the August 2026 lunar eclipse as a moment of quiet reflection. Not a ritual of panic, not an attempt to predict disaster, not a desperate search for supernatural warnings, just silence. Look at the sky. Notice your thoughts. Ask yourself one honest question. What in my life needs more attention? Perhaps the answer will be nothing dramatic. Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need to forgive someone. Maybe you need to stop delaying something important. Maybe you need to trust your abilities more. Maybe you need to let go of an old fear. Or perhaps you simply need to spend more time away from the noise. Nature has always offered humanity a strange kind of mirror. We look at the ocean and think about depth. We look at mountains and think about endurance. We watch seasons change and think about transformation. And when we watch the moon enter Earth's shadow, perhaps we think about the hidden parts of ourselves. The parts that remain invisible during our ordinary days. The fears we hide. The dreams we never mention. The questions we postpone. The intuition we silence because it does not fit neatly into a schedule. Perhaps this is the most mysterious connection between Edgar Cayce's spiritual ideas and the eclipse. Not that the sky predicts our fate, but that the sky can remind us to become more conscious of the life we are already living. And what about the old folklore? Should we simply laugh at the stories of monsters swallowing the moon, mysterious omens, and cosmic battles? Perhaps not. We may no longer believe these stories literally, but their symbolism remains fascinating. The monster that swallows the moon may represent the ancient human fear that darkness will destroy light. The cosmic battle may represent our struggle between hope and fear. The disappearing moon may symbolize uncertainty, and its return may represent one of humanity's oldest lessons. Darkness can be temporary. The moon enters shadow, but the shadow does not own the moon. Eventually, the familiar light returns, and perhaps that is a symbol worth carrying into modern life. We all experience seasons when clarity disappears. We all encounter moments when we cannot see the next step. But not seeing the whole path does not mean there is no path. Sometimes we must wait. Sometimes we must reflect. Sometimes we must remain still long enough for understanding to return. The August 2026 lunar eclipse may be scientifically explained by the movement and alignment of Earth, the Moon, and the Sun. Yet science does not prevent symbolism. Understanding how something happens does not stop us from reflecting on how it makes us feel. In fact, perhaps the deeper wonder begins when knowledge and reflection meet. We can understand the mechanics of the eclipse and still experience awe. We can reject fear-based superstition and still respect the ancient stories that reveal how humans have searched for meaning. We can avoid false prophecy while still asking spiritual questions. And perhaps that balance is the message we need today. Look at the sky with knowledge. Look within yourself with honesty. Do not fear the shadow. Observe it, because sometimes the shadow reveals what constant brightness keeps hidden. If Edgar Cayce had stood beneath the August 2026 lunar eclipse, perhaps the most important sign he would have seen was not written in the moon. Perhaps it was reflected in the human beings looking up at it. Thousands of different lives. Thousands of private fears. Thousands of forgotten dreams. Thousands of questions. All of them pausing beneath the same sky. And perhaps, for one brief moment, the greatest mystery would not be above us. It would be within us. The eclipse will come and go. The moon will return to its familiar light. But the questions awakened during that moment may remain. What are you becoming? What have you ignored? What is your intuition trying to make you notice? What truth appears when you stop running from silence? Perhaps the sky does not always give us answers. Perhaps sometimes it gives us something more valuable, a reason to ask better questions. And as the shadow slowly leaves the moon, remember this: not every sign is a prophecy. Not every mystery needs to be feared. Sometimes the universe simply reminds us to pause, to observe, and to listen. Because the greatest eclipse may not be the one happening above our heads. It may be the moment when our own inner light becomes hidden beneath the noise, fear, and distractions of everyday life. And perhaps the greatest act of reflection is simply this: to wait for the noise to grow quiet, to look upward, to look inward, and to ask yourself, when the shadow passes, what part of me will finally come back into the light?